My name is PhD, and I work in macroeconomics. I have mainly two fields or two subfields of macro that I've been focusing most. One is about sources of business cycle fluctuations. So why do we have economic cycles and what kind of mechanisms hold promise in explaining those cycles? For example, for the Great Recession, that was a recent work of mine that I published now in December in the Handbook of Macro. Another line of research, and that's the one that I've been focusing the most, has to do with the relevance of what makes us different. So why am I different from you along many dimensions? Age, income, wealth, whatever. How that matters for macroeconomic dynamics, or the dynamics of aggregates like GDP, employment, output, and stuff like that. And the distribution of those incomes. So all those variables.
When you started studying economics, do you want to look for those answers?
No, not at all. So when I first started to think about going to the PhD, I wanted to do evolutionary game theory, which is probably the subject which is the most far away from what I'm doing now.
What did you make the change?
Well, to be honest, game theory is very, how to put this in a good way. The way that I felt about game theory was that the notation it's very heavy because typically the objects are very highly dimensional, and then it reflects on the way that it's taught, meaning that it's very about solving problems, is very on learning by doing, experimenting by experience, heuristics, and not so much having a structured, systematic way of approaching a problem. So in macro, on the other hand, for me, I felt that there was a more direct connection between effort and achievement. And then I kind of felt that if I put a lot of effort, I could achieve a lot, and I could feel safe about what I knew.
Regarding your PhD, so how was the decision?
Well, I don't think any kid dreams of being a PhD in economics. I certainly didn't. What happened was that after quite a bit sinuous path in my undergrad education, once I finally settled and started studying really hard, I kind of fell in love with the subject. And for me, wanting to keep studying became pretty much almost kind of obvious to me. At the same time, I had some job offers, and I always felt that the kind of work I'd be doing that I was attracted to, not having a PhD would be very limiting, would basically be supporting leaders and not, leading, I guess, in some extent. So taking a PhD became kind of a natural step.
Did you find the difficulty step a very large one?
Huge. I cannot understand. I cannot understate the impact. I remember that, so if you go to the PhD, because you have very good grades undergrad, right? Otherwise you don't get in. It's a sine qua non. And typically undergrad, you live in a mindset where you're typically used to, am I going to get 95% or 99 or 100? Am I going to be at, the best or the second best? So you're comfortable living in that mental status, right? Then you go to the PhD and everyone is like you. And the demand level kind of shoots to the sky. And all of a sudden, very often you see yourself in situations where the question is not, am I going to be the best in class, or am I going to have 95 or 100, but the question is, am I going to pass this course? Am I going to be able to make it? So in that sense, it was very hard. Very, very hard. But, you get a little bit, anxious about it, but then, survival instincts kick in, and, you have to do it, and you have to put those feelings aside and just focus at the task at hand and perform, because there's no alternative.
If you had to give yourself an advice before starting a PhD? Would you say, what would you say to yourself?
I would have definitely have gathered a stronger quantitative background. I mean, because it's as I tell you, especially in macro, but this is not just macro, I mean, I think this is general. You go to the PhD, the technical education is extraordinarily demanding, and what happens is that if you're not very well prepared for that technical skills that you need to gain, you spend too much time in kind of feeling comfortable with those techniques and not so much time reflecting on how to use them to answer interesting questions and think about the world. Okay? So what I feel is that if a priori I had gained those skills that would kind of ease the assimilation of all the important techniques, I would have had a much more critical approach and thinking when acquiring those skills in the PhD, and I would already be thinking about research and applications and stuff like that. So that's definitely something I would advise every single student, if they can, just take real analysis, calculus, learn a couple of programming languages, differential equations, statistics, econometrics, whatever you can get your hands on to be prepared for the task.